Hello everybody and welcome to another video. I am going to do the major Copenhagen Pickems. It is an ungodly time at night right now, so forgive me if my logic is fucking atrocious, but yeah, I needed to do this and I didn't want to have to wait another day to do it, so I'm saying fuck it and I'm just gonna do it, and it's probably gonna be terrible, but yeah, we will give it a shot. They've made the screen look quite a bit different, so forgive me. I probably am gonna look like an absolute idiot um, doing these pick'ems because I've never seen it formatted like this before. This is the new format for sure. Yeah. So opening stage here. Obviously, you guys know how the major works in terms of the format. I'm not gonna explain that. If you need that be explained to you, then you should probably just look that shit up because I ain't doing it. I ain't explaining it. It's too late at night, and I need to kind of fucking like get a move on here. So okay. Let's see. So how does this work in terms of the? Okay, so we can pick the 3-0, the 3-0, and the 0-3. So typically, what we do for 3-0s and 0-3s, usually I start with the 0-3 because it's kind of the more obvious one to get out of the way. I'm just gonna be fucking honest. Lin Vision's going 0-3. Like that team is not good. They're just not. So I'm picking them as the 0-3. They are just frankly, they're just the second best team out of the Asian region. And Starry is a nice player, but I'm frankly just not high on Lin Vision. Mongols kind of mop the floor with them. Mongols kind of dominate that RMR in general. Um, and yeah, it didn't really look like the region was that competitive other than the Mongols, really. So yeah, respect to the Mongols, but yeah, I'm just not seeing a whole lot here out of Linvision. I'm gonna look up actually. I want to see the first round matchups just out of curiosity because I haven't actually really taken too much of a look at it. So let's see the matches. Okay. Yeah, because who is Linvision playing? They're playing Heroic. They're not going to beat Heroic. Like Heroic is beating that team, so that just further. So are there two O3 teams? There are two O3 teams. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. I look, I'm not convinced by like legacy, like I don't really know, man, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of options here. I kind of want to go for Nine Pandas. I don't think Nine Pandas is that good. They barely made it. They had to make it through the last chance qualifier, but the problem is they're playing AmCal in their first round matchup. AmCal is currently ranked 26th in the world. Nine Pandas is ranked 20th in the world. And in terms of like it's tough because like the players, like there's no like standout like, oh, like this team should win. Like there really isn't between those two guys. So maybe not the best. One of those two options isn't the best to go for. Koi is pretty good. They're a pretty good team. They're playing Saw in their first round matchup. Again, I don't see a whole lot of worth. That's not really like an easy way to guarantee another 0-3. So it's going to get kind of tough here because for the second 0-3 pick, again, this format is different. I'm not used to picking like two 0-3 teams like this. This is very different than I feel like it normally is, than they normally schedule things. So I'm kind of struggling here. I'm trying to see if there's any matchup here where I'm just like, yeah, this is like an already bad matchup, and then like I can see it kind of just snowballing from there. But it's pretty tough. Furia versus Legacy is quite the interesting matchup. You would like to hope Furia would win, but those inter-regional matchups can be a bit spicy. This is really tough. I'm not gonna lie, this is really tough. I almost just want to bite on the Saw the recent the how good Saw has looked recently and go with maybe a Koi that just doesn't quite have enough. Um, I think I might go for that honestly because I don't think Koi is all that great, and I do think Saw. I think Saw should beat them. Um, yeah, I guess I'll go for Koi, but yeah, again, like kind of a tough one for me because yeah, I don't know. I think Lin Vision's pretty much a lock to go 3, unless a fuck your pick'ems happens. Um, but yeah, I could see some of these other teams. Like I could see Legacy doing a little bit, like getting at least one win. So, and I'm not convinced on Furia, so yeah. Anyways, for my 3-0 team, typically you want to pick for the 3-0, at least it used to be that you'd want to pick a team that you think is like not and it looks like it would apply here as well because of the way that this is formatted. You typically for your 3-0s want to pick a team that you don't want to pick the best teams because in theory if they could go 3-1 or 3-2 and then if they do go 3-1 or 3-2 you don't get that pick as kind of like an easy one. So yeah, this is where things can get a little bit tricky in terms of like who you want to go for. Um, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I think, hmm, there's some interesting options here. I think there's some interesting options here. I would definitely say Eternal Fire could go 3-0. I think Eternal Fire could go 3-0 for sure. They look pretty good. They've been pretty good for a while now. They looked good in Katowice as well. I think obviously they have all the talent in the world to be good. I think they're playing the Mongols up first, and while I think the Mongols is actually like a pretty fucking good team, like they keep making it to these big events. So clearly they're a quality. They're probably the best team from Asia we've had in a while. But at the same time, like I think Eternal Fire has way more talent. Obviously, they've been playing really well these past couple of months. I just think they're probably more likely just going to outskill the Mongols at worst, really. And I think that should be a win for Eternal Fire. And then moving forward, like I said, I think they've been playing really well. They'd be kind of a team that'd be on the edge, I think, for me in terms of making it to the next stage. So I think it would make sense to put them there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm almost wanting to put Apex as the other 3-0 team. Again, another borderline team that I'm not sure about, but they're playing Pain in their first round matchup. The problem with me picking Apex is I've just recently watched them play. Oh my gosh, who did they play? What game did I just watch? I think I watched it yesterday. Was it this morning? I watched a game this morning. I feel like maybe it was maybe it was yesterday. Hmm, trying to find it. I should just go to I should just go to their profile page. Who did they just play? Oh, I watched them lose to Metasport. And while Metasport has been on a fucking heater recently, I do think Apex should have won that. Like, they need to be winning those kind of games, right? And who knows? Maybe they're saving stuff for the major. I don't know. But I won't lie. And like, it's tough to go off of an online best of three still. When you're going into a LAN environment, right? But Payne has been here before. These aren't players that like have never been to a major before. It's not really that same type of excuse that you could use maybe for other teams. So it becomes quite challenging here, actually. So maybe I can look and see if there's another one that I think would be like oh yeah, this team could like it's kind of borderline for me, but could go 3-0. Um, see, I don't think Heroic is a borderline team though. I could see Furia go 3-0 and surprise people. Um, they didn't look that bad during their. I mean, the rest of NA looks the rest of America's looked terrible, obviously, but I think Furia did a good job to make it. And I think they actually would be a borderline team at this point for me. I haven't found them to be too reliable, but um, that's why they'd be a borderline team. But I could totally see a world where for the major they really step it up. Fallen starts playing well. He seems to have played better on Imperial when the major came around. It felt like so. Who knows? Maybe it happens here too. Um, as for the teams that are good, like that, I feel pretty confident about. I feel confident about Cloud9. For some reason, it didn't go through. I feel confident about Cloud9. I feel confident about Heroic. I feel confident about Ents, pretty much, like relatively confident about Ents. I could see them falling out, but I think I'm relatively high on them. This is where things get a little bit tricky. I kind of want to stick to my narrative with Saw, that I think Saw is actually pretty good. Um, I haven't. I know Ecstatic has apparently been playing incredibly well, or obviously they played very well at the RMR. I don't know much about them though, which is why I'm a little bit hesitant. I could almost, honestly, I almost want to put the Mongols in to make it through as well. I think this is where things get pretty tricky, and honestly, I might be leaning towards an Apex here, just because I do think that even though they've looked shaky recently, they are still a better quality team than some of these other options, especially the Americas teams. So yeah, I don't want to pick Nine Pandas. I don't want to pick Imperial. I don't want to pick Legacy, or really Pain for that matter either, which means I'm really kind of down to Amcal, Mongols, and Ecstatic for this last spot. I'm not picking Amcal. I would be between Ecstatic and the Mongols. And part of me wants to pick the Mongols, although I know Ecstatic apparently I know they've been playing well. So that's tough. That makes it really, really difficult. But I think I'd give the edge to Mongols, actually, I think this could be the time where Mongols actually make it to the next stage because and maybe they've made it to the to future stages of the major. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I don't know. Look, the opening stage doesn't look incredibly strong at the moment. Well, it's not really going to change. And I do think the Mongols, look, they handily beat the Asian RMR. They've beaten Furia many times. Like they're a team that like can compete with these other teams, and they have experience at the majors. I actually think like some people would say like Ecstatic is going to get the Danish buff because they're in Denmark, but I don't know actually. I mean, they're the only full Danish roster at the major. Um, I think it actually might add some pressure. It might actually add additional pressure for a bunch of young players to perform. You know, the Ecstatic weren't even seen as like a team that was likely to make it here. So I do think that like maybe I would give the edge to the Mongols because of their experience, which is something weird. I wouldn't normally say that about a team from Asia over a European team, but in this case, it actually does apply. Most of these players on the Mongols have played bigger events more frequently than these guys from Ecstatic. So, yeah, I think I'd give it to the Mongols. I think this is going to be my pick'ems. Again, it's late at night. It's I'm just kind of doing this off the top of my head, but if I had to just kind of quickly go through just my thought processes of everything, I think this is what I'm going to go for. Again, I do like to look at the first round matchups because I do think like maybe a team like Nine Pandas is a team where I'd be like, oh, I'd want to put them in 03, but then I see that they're playing Amcal in the first match, and I'm like, well, I'm not confident that Amcal is going to beat Nine Pandas in a best of one, so I don't know that I can really put that as a vote. So that's kind of what I try to do. Obviously, there's no science to this. I mean, there's some like percentages that you can try to play, but like for the most part, it is pretty much luck. Someone who knows nothing about Counter Strike could absolutely nail this bracket, like especially with best of ones MR12 with this shit economy, like it can be really, really tough. Yeah, there's best of threes at the end, but because of the best of ones, seeding gets fucked up even more than it already is. Obviously, like why is Nine Pandas playing Amcal in the first round when you've got other teams like fucking Eternal Fire and Mongols are probably Ecstatic and Cloud9. That's a matchup that like Ecstatic is like what the fuck, man? Like why are we playing Cloud9 when like we could be playing like one of these other teams? So I don't know. Like I do think there's some bullshit matchups, obviously, and this system is dog shit. But like, um, yeah, just kind of trying to look at the numbers as best I can, and like, trying to like, I mean, I'm not really looking at like a bunch of stats or anything, but like, just off of what I've seen recently and what I've heard from other people on talk shows and analysts and whatnot, and like just listening to their opinions. I actually haven't listened to anybody talk about um, the pick'ems because I didn't want to listen to any analysts do their pick'ems because I didn't want it to influence my pick'ems. So I will say that. But obviously, I listen to a lot of analysts. I listen to a lot of their shows and whatnot, and YouTube videos, and so I kind of have an idea for how some of these teams that maybe I haven't watched as much, kind of like where people rate them. So that's kind of what I'm also using as a little bit of a yardstick. But yeah, I mean, I think for sure the locks that like everyone should be expecting to make it through for sure is Cloud9 and Heroic. Ents I would also say is kind of up there. Um, but it has been a new project for Ents, so that's why it's a little shaky. But like I do think Cloud9 and Heroic should for sure be making it to the next stage. If they don't, it's a huge disappointment. And then the rest of the teams, yeah, we'll see. I think Lin Vision though is probably a lock for 03. So let's see if we can get a fuck your pick'ems out of Lin Vision. That would be pretty wild. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Hopefully you all, it'd be interesting to see what your picks are, and what your thoughts are on my picks. Do you think I'm a dumbass? Do you think I'm trying to be too smart about this? Do you think that you just don't fucking care? that's also perfectly fine. Um, and yeah, we'll see how it plays out, and it'll be fun. I'm excited to watch the major. I'm excited about Counter Strike again, and it's pretty exciting stuff. So hopefully you guys all enjoy the major as well. And yeah, we'll see how it plays out, and I'll see you guys in the next Pick'ems video.